I believe that every individual in this planet and probably everywhere else has a unique note and unique sound, and the whole life is a symphony. Regarding how the world looks like or is going to be, we all know how it is. We just have to tap into our soul, and we know because we have been there.
Hello everyone and welcome to my channel in this encounters with beautiful and inspiring people, ideas and minds and fragments of the truth, hoping that by bringing all these elements together we get to have a bigger picture of who we really are and of who we can become, or of whom we were and we have forgotten. And please like and subscribe so that you too can become part of this process of getting closer and closer to the truth and to our true nature. Also, if you have something to say and want to share your message here, and even want to be clearer about what you want to say to the world, please contact me and let's talk. And this is the second part of the interview with Marco Missinato. Hi, Marco. So happy to have you back.
Hello, thank you for having me again on your lovely show. Thank you.
So if you don't mind, I'll just take a couple of minutes to share with you my experience listening to your audiobook, which we'll talk a bit later about, the journey of the soul. And mostly after the conversation that we had last time, I asked myself a few questions. First of all, do I know what my soul wants of me? Am I in touch with my soul? And following that, I actually included in my daily meditation practice of a few extra moments to intentionally go in touch with my soul, which was a very powerful experience. Maybe we'll talk about that later. But then I asked myself, and there was a bit of sadness in that, a little bit of pain, if you want. I asked myself, is it in my soul's intention to continue in this new world that is about to come or not? I mentioned that to you when we talked last time. As somehow the idea of having to live in a new world was not that tempting to me. And I'll explain why. Because you see, as long as we are in this physical body, I know for a fact that we can only thrive as long as we are following the universal law, the laws of nature, and seeing everything that is being communicated to us the past couple of years, and even for a while now. I have a hard time imagining that all this will bring us to something good. Good in a sense of an environment that is thriving for the human being. But then the next thought was that, that I realized actually that maybe I do not have to change for the new world. Maybe the new world will match with who I am and who I've always been, or in all my searches for the truth. So do we have to fit into the new world, or the world will fit who we are?
Well, that's a beautiful question. The so-called new world is not really new. It's our original natural state of being. What we call new world, it feels new because for a good 10,000 years we had a situation where they took us away from the distance. So it's now returning to our natural state of being. So there is no question that the so-called new world will fit the true essence of who you are. Certainly much, much more than the world that you have been experiencing in this lifetime, and who knows how many lifetimes past this one. So the new world is basically a return to the original blueprint, to the true original human experience, which is, there is no words to explain the beauty that is inherent in this experience.
Yeah,
and it's quite a quantum leap for us. And yes, right now we see, if we look at the world as it is right now, and we think it's impossible that we can go to such an amazing place considering what is happening in the planet, right? But what is happening in the planet, it shouldn't be a point of referral, because what is happening in the planet is addressing a dying world that is trying everything possible to keep itself alive for a little bit longer. But it has definitely very little time left. And we should not even define ourselves based on what is happening outside the world, because it doesn't really reflect what is truly happening. What is truly happening, we have to see it within ourselves, inside ourselves. Then we will have a more holistic way to see the situation and the process. So we just need to observe what is happening outside in neutrality, and if we can reach that level of consciousness, even with appreciation, because it's like a body that is going through a cleanse, and so all these disintoxication symptoms come to surface to the point that it looks like the body is sick. And in reality, the body is just getting rid of what it doesn't belong anymore in order to go back to rejuvenation process, you know.
Yeah, it's true. Actually, a disease is always a process of purification of the soul in a way or another. But I think the fear that I was talking about, the fear for some people comes from this perspective that is being created by the media. You know, it's being projected in the world, this new world that is somehow induced to our minds, and all this information that we are receiving is about changes and upgrades and changes and new technologies, and this is where we might have hard time projecting ourselves. Most of us that are, you know, there in this spirituality, and we've always been there. I personally have hard time to imagine myself being connected to IA, for instance, or have IA rule my universe. So, because I believe in a way, the more we are using technology, the less we are using our own brain, the less we actually connect with our own body, with nature, with Mother Earth, with our soul, and why not with God? To me, technology is an impediment. Do you think the same?
Well, let's put it this way. Whatever comes our way, it always come, you can say it always come empty of any meaning, because life wants us to put the meaning of whatever comes our way, because it wants to be a creator. So you decide what is for you technology. You decide if it's good, bad, useless, or very important, because you are the creator. We are individually, we are creator. And so everything that comes to us create an experience by how we responded to it. For example, you know, sometimes it rains, right?
Yeah.
Rain doesn't have any particular meaning. It is just rain. But many people in this planet have decided that rain is bad weather. And so they leave rain as something that they have to protect them from. They have to be careful, stay home, also there's bad weather, and they have all this emotional around it. But the rain doesn't have any meaning itself. There are other people, maybe a minority, but when rain comes, they celebrate. They dance with the water, they feel appreciation and celebration, and yet the rain itself doesn't have any meaning. It is just rain. So it's the way how we respond to whatever comes our way that creates the experience, because we are the creators. Nothing else is creating for us without our consent. So you can see technology and say, wow, there's a lot of wonderful, amazing things that I can do with technology. Or you can say, oh, technology is evil. It's AI that is trying to control us. Both, they will lead to different experiences. You know?
For sure,
or
but
you can stay neutral.
Rain is a natural process. IA is human-made. And even the creators of IA are a bit warning about the danger that, because every technology, every creation of that comes from a human mind can be used in a negative way. Even the social media, which could be used like we do now to share beautiful experiences and beautiful ideas, or we can, use it to manipulate. And so as long as it is not imposed on me, I have no problem with that. But will there be a moment when I'll be able to choose, or I will have to go with it? That's my fear. And this is where my soul feels a bit trapped, talking about the soul.
Yeah, I don't think it's the soul that is feeling trapped, but
no, it's the ego. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
It's the mind that's creating all these narratives. If you connect with the soul, we'll tell you that everything is perfect and everything is wonderful. Let's just play this game. It's fantastic. Let's keep going. It's just amazing.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to ask you, because maybe, you see, this is what I create in my mind by looking out there. And maybe there's many people that do the same. So if we knew what the new world actually could be for us, and having a clear picture of what it could actually be, and focusing on it rather than merely opposing what is being proposed to us now, it could be a place to start. You know what I mean? So this is my question for you. How do you see the new world?
Well, first of all, technology is just a bridge. It's just a permission slip. It's a module of that give us the permission to be more and more in touch with the true technology, which is in our heart. It can be seen just as that. And so it's not bad or good. It's whatever you want to do with it. Right now, we are using technology beautifully by having this conversation.
Yes.
Otherwise, it wouldn't be possible. So
well, we would meet, Marco, we would meet and we would record the old way. We would still find a way. Yeah. We'd do this telepathically, transmit it telepathically.
Sure. The work is to remove the judgment.
Okay.
It's to remove the judgment, remove the emotional response. Mm-hmm. Because for as long as we see with judgmental eyes what is happening in front of us, we keep being caught up into the game, and we keep being food for the game. The moment where we start to embrace it all, and we start to love and appreciate all the aspect of the game, not only the good ones, but also the other one, all the colors of the game, that's when the game will transform itself into the perfect bridge to go to the new world that is awaiting us for us. Regarding how the world looks like or is going to be, we all know how it is. We just have to tap into our soul, and we know because we have been there. We know what truly humans being. It's just we've forgotten because thanks to a good level of forgetfulness, we were able to navigate through the lower frequencies in order to have some quite amazing experiences and learn a lot about what it means to be in those very intense separative situation, so that we can learn from that, and then we can help a lot of other situation in the future. Also, you mentioned nature. Also, nature is being manipulated. The nature that we know is not the real original nature. The real original nature doesn't have a predatory aspect. In the true nature, nobody feed at the cost of other lives. Okay, so even nature. Nature right now is already a fifth-dimensional experience, but we don't see it because we are projecting into the idea of nature our fear, our past, our attachment to the old world, and so we keep creating an hologram of the nature that is hostile, is aggressive, is danger. But actually, if you really look what is happening, I mean, look at the animal, how much more loving they're becoming, how much more intensely connected and intelligent they are becoming. I see sometimes on Facebook also videos of dogs and cats and birds that do things that I've never seen before.
It's true.
Right? So that's a sign that we are getting closer to the real nature. The real nature is a nature that doesn't have any contraction. It doesn't kill. Everybody live in perfect harmony. Everybody co-create, and everybody are communicating in an amazing way. Once we go to the original blueprint of this planet, we will be able to communicate with plants, with minerals, and with animals in an amazing way.
Well, I'm looking forward to that then.
Yes, this costume, it's an incredibly advanced piece of technology, talking about technology. Okay, it's an antenna that has the ability to send and receive messages all the way up to the fountain of life itself, out to source itself. And we have so many different intelligences within ourselves that right now most have been kind of almost shut down, and now they are turning on. And so the DNA, the pineal gland, our connection with the intelligence of the body, our connection with the intelligence of the intestine, the heart, where the soul is. I mean, this avatar is really, really amazing. Is probably the best of the best. Is what is considered the closest image of and feeling of source itself. Okay, so once we are back to the full original blueprint of having a human experience, which, by the way, now in these 10,000 years has also been upgraded. So we are stepping into something that is even more beautiful, more amazing than the one we just left in the cycle before this one, because in every cycle there is an upgrade. Okay, for example, the human experience was designed since the last cycle to be able for the soul to navigate in the physicality up to the 9 dimension. Now we can maintain our physicality and experience the human journey up to the 12th dimension, something that never happened before. That means that if we choose so, we can raise our frequency up to the 12th dimension and still have a physical experience, which is something that I don't think occurred ever before.
I see. Can I ask you a question now? What do you mean by these dimensions? Because maybe people listening, they don't know, and I personally don't know. What's the 9th dimension? What's the 12th? For instance.
There are different level of appreciation.
Levels of appreciation?
Yes.
Wow.
There are different levels of appreciation for life. That's the simplest way to put it. I'm sure there is much more scientific, more intense way to put it. Yeah. But that's how I love it. The more you appreciate life, the more you raise your vibration, because it's all about vibrations. We are frequencies, we are vibration, we are sound. So appreciation is the purest level of love, in a way, you can say, because when you appreciate, it's the moment where you are really embracing, really say yes to life in the most precious and divine way. A difference between a person that is temporarily walking in the low frequencies and someone that is walking in higher frequencies is just a different appreciation for life. You know,
but they are real frequencies, frequency levels. Is that it?
Yes. Yes. There are
measurable frequencies.
Yeah, to a certain
extent.
I don't know if the scientists on this planet have the ability to do that. Probably some do. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But yes, of course, you can, you probably can measure, but it really doesn't matter. Who cares about numbers? You just want to feel life more than.
No, for sure, for sure. But for people listening
you know.
to be able to give them some reference points. And how do you know that, Marco? How do you know this? You seem to know what you're talking about. How do you know?
Well, we get our sense of knowing from a different situation. The more you're tuned in with your soul, you know, but it's not a left brain knowing.
No.
It's not a knowing that require proofs. It's a knowing that is holistic. It's a knowing that is tuned in with the amazing orchestra, the symphony orchestra of life, and so it doesn't need to. For example, how do you know that you like a piece of music? Do you need to know all the notes of the music for you to like it? You just feel it, you just connect with the sound and feel the emotions, and you say yes, or you may say, this is not the music that I like this one. But you don't need to collect a lot of evidences and proofs about what is good music, what is not. You just allow your inner feeling to be driven by music, That's how you do the same thing with life. But there are people that are more scientific, and that's beautiful. There's nothing wrong with that. And so they will have an approach that is more like studying and searching and creating formulas, and that's beautiful. There's nothing wrong with that. However, I have the feeling that for a scientist, it gets to a point that in order to continue his research, has to embrace also spirituality. Yes, because if you just want to comprehend life only with your left brain, at a certain point you're stopped, because the left brain is not equipped to understand the vastity and the mysteriousness of life. In fact, life, I don't think, is meant to be understood. Life is meant to be experienced. We have to accept that. We have to embrace the mystery of life. And that's when we can really go to a knowing that is far, far beyond any scientific formula, And if you notice, every scientific formula, after a while, it gets outdated. Notice that? Yes. Science constantly update. You can say update. Yes. So the true in the previous century now is this truth, and then now it's this truth. So they are constantly, they never get to it. Yeah. So they're in constant, you can say, evolution, but also in a way you can sense that they're in contradiction, because when they say that this is how it is, they really think we got it. And then after a while, they realize they didn't get it. They didn't get it. Actually, it was quite far from the truth. Now we got it. And they keep going in this fashion, right? Yeah, it goes on and on. Yes, yeah, it goes on and on. Either if you are a medical doctor, you're a physician, or an engineer, there's always more. While when you tune in with your heart, with your soul, then the quality of your knowing is more holistic. You are connecting with the intelligence of source itself. And so back to your original question, how do you know? Well, I have an internal knowing, like you do, like everybody have. Then I have a uniqueness that makes me elaborate the knowing in a very unique way, so that I can have a very unique experience. And then from that uniqueness, I can share something that can support others to see things from a different point of view. Yeah. And that's fun to do. And then I have, of course, once your predisposition is connected, you are connected with your internal knowing, then the synchronicity and the resonance and dissonance of your navigating your journey does create further knowing. So you enter a bookstore and there are millions of books, and you get that one exactly what you, that is the continuation of your inner knowing, a confirmation or an expanding. So
Yes.
that is the knowing how it comes. Or you met someone that tell you something, or, you know, so the knowing is coming in many, many ways. Also, we connect with the body, with the intelligence of the knowing of the body. We connect with the knowing of the belly. We connect with the knowing of the soul. We connect with the knowing of the pineal gland and the brain, so that we have a lot of intelligence from where we can get a lot of things to know.
Yes, because you mentioned different types of intelligences. This is what you meant, the intelligence of the pineal gland, the intelligence of the body, the intelligence of the intuition, right? Are there any others?
The DNA.
The DNA, oh
the
yeah,
DNA,
of course.
When is active, is each one is how do you say, filament or channel or whatever of the DNA.
Yes.
Is a powerful antenna that connect us with a specific extraterrestrial race, which is part of our families. And so we are basically more or less 12 different antennas from which we gather, we give and receive information with extraterrestrial. And extraterrestrial is a kind of funny word for me, but with other families, other expression of life.
Yes.
So just through the DNA, we can gather so much incredible information and wisdom and knowing, for sure.
No, for sure. Now, listening to you, I'm thinking of my first love, which is Ayurveda, because I've learned a lot through Ayurveda and the Vedic knowledge and science. And it's a science. It's called the science of life. This is what it actually means. And it talks about the different functions and levels of the mind, and the superior aspect, if you want, or the intelligence, is called buddhi, and it has two aspects: the intellectual aspect, which is the scientific research where you take something to dissecate and to cut it in small pieces to understand and analyze. That's more superior part is the direct knowing, when you directly know. And so it's part of the human design, it's part of the human functions to have this ability to know. So it only confirms. And this is how actually the information, although the science was being brought into this reality, according to the stories, through the sages who were meditating, and through direct knowing, they were actually bringing down this information. So that's why when we talk about Ayurveda, we say it's not a man-made science. It's a science that has been seen, that has been heard, that has been known and given. So it's the universal knowledge. Yeah. So it's beautiful indeed. And I'm happy to see that we can actually reach the same point and the same understandings through music, or maybe it's just through the soul directly. Actually, the science Ayurveda is not to teach somebody anything. It's just to remind everybody what they are, and to remember, make us remember that we have abilities.
Yes. The more we balance our female and male energy, the more we allow information, deeper information to get in.
Yes.
You know.
So the question I had for you, since we're on the subject, is about judgment, because I like the way you're using metaphors and examples. This is how people can relate to some of the topics that we discuss about, and can actually see how they can do it. Can you give us an example on how do I appreciate or look at something without judgment? Give me an example when you look at something without judgment, something that apparently is bad or could seen as bad or painful.
When you are in reaction, when you are reactive, so you are reacting to what you see with an emotion, you are, you can say you are judging.
Yes.
The judgment, there's a difference between discernment and judgment. Judgment is filled with opinions, labels, and emotions, lower emotions. Discernment the soul uses discernment, and so it chooses something rather than other. But it's not that the other is bad or or I don't like it. It's just it loves it all, but it just feels that this is what I want to experience right now. This I don't need to experience, but it loves it all. Why somebody that's judgmental basically says that is bad and this is good, or this is nice, this is beautiful, and this is ugly, or this is light and this is darkness. Is a continue feeding the dualistic experience where the light need its opposite to justify his existence. So is feeding a system that is in a way is artificially created, is synthetic, is not real, but it's very important because it allows us to play a game.
No, for sure.
So that's the difference.
How do we do? Is this discernment something we develop or it grows in time? Or let's take a very concrete example. Let's take somebody who's looking at the world right now with all these things which aren't pleasant. Let's put it that way. And the emotional response is fear. What can that person do to shift from this judgmental perception and go at the soul level and have this discernment and this perspective? It's meditation alone, or is there something you can do on the spot? Just tell yourself, okay, I want to see it for what it is. This is what I do. That's why I'm asking this question. Maybe you have other tricks, but that's what I do. I ask myself, what is true and real about this? And I just sit with it for a moment. I say, okay, I recognize that this is fear. Well, what is actually happening? And I'm asking to connect now. Since last time, of course, I'm asking to connect to my soul. And then I say, okay, what if I were connected to my soul, how would I see it? And then I just drop the question and let it be. And then sooner or later I have a glimpse, or I have just a boost in the mood. It's like, oh yeah, finally, it's like, after all, I mean, I'm free, I'm still here, I'm in my house, I'm doing my things. What am I worrying about? I mean, I'm not directly involved in anything that is bad. If I ever do, I'll deal with it then. So it's a sort of a wisdom that comes forth, but maybe you have other tricks. This is what I'm experiencing since we talked last time.
Yeah, there is many ways to see this. First of all, who is having fear?
Well, I know it's the ego. Yes, good question.
So
I know theoretically, I know the answer.
Right. So the ego is telling me a story.
Yes.
And usually it picks up stuff that from our memories, from my memories, mostly of stories of things that went wrong in the past or hurt me, and then it picks up from there and start to create amazing stories and narratives. So what we are seeing right now is the shadows of us as a collective that is coming to surface, so that we can look at it and then make a discernment. You know, do we still want to play this game, or we want to play another game? But in order to make a decision that is conscious, we need to bring everything on the table. And so, as you can see, layers and layers and perception and lies and all kind of manipulation are all coming. And now it's not stoppable. They are all coming. And once you figure out that once it's done, so now it comes another one, and comes another one, because it's many layers of perception are coming on the table, so that we can see them all. And then we can make a decision if we want to still play with those frequencies, or we choose to play with other frequencies, you know. So when we see things and we feel fear, we understand that it's the soul, it's the ego that is throwing at us a narrative of something that can hurt us or can go wrong. You know, fear of consequences, fear of what happened in the past. You remember, and now it's like, you see, here we go again. You know, there's all these kind of narratives. But that's an artificial intelligence. It's the only piece in our costume that is not organic. you know. It's the only, we have all these intelligences that goes toward joy, goes toward celebration, goes toward life, creation, and all that. And then we have this little tiny device on the left brain that is doing everything to take us on the other side, right? And is doing such an amazing job. It took us a long time because we were so powerfully driven by the other intelligence, but it took a while. But now most of the people out there are identified with the stories of the ego. So when we have fear, it's a synthetic fear, doesn't have any
substance,
any whatever. Yes, it's just a fantasy. It's the movie. And of course, if we keep feeding it, it creates experiences, of course, you know. So again, once we feel fear, we look at the fear and we don't get lost into it. We stay neutral. I'll say, here is the fear. Okay, let's observe this fear. Let's not give nutrition to it. Let's observe it. Let it be. We don't judge it. Right or wrong, okay, here, let's observe it, and you will see that it doesn't find any more nutrition, and so little by little it starts to shrink. It might take a while because some fears are deeply eradicated inside our system, in subconscious, collective, and all that, you know. But that's the process, is to observe the emotions without getting lost into them, without judging them, just allow them to come out without getting lost into them.
So that it takes a little bit of awareness, though. I mean, you have to be a little bit aware, have some degree of consciousness available at the moment.
Not only that, you also have to have the desire. Many people are not willing to let go of their victim narratives because in their sense of victimhood, they feel comfortable in their miserable life because they are accustomed to it and they are afraid, and also they don't want to become responsible, you know. So if you take away my story that that guy did that to me and that's why I'm like this, if you take that story away from me, then I have to start to be responsible. I have to start to own my life. I rather to have the narrative of my life to be written by somebody else that is my victimizer. In this case, is the system, you know.
Yeah, it's true. You know what comes to mind when you were talking earlier? What came to mind in terms of an example on how you can be out of judgment? It could be something like when we were little, for instance, or younger. When we were judging ourselves for doing something or for being in a certain way, and then we grew, and now when we are adults or even further up, looking back at that, we find it cute and, you know, like amusing. So like when we look at the defaults we had when we were children that we were judging ourselves for, looking back at them now, we find them really cute and you know, inoffensive. So I think it's the same way. This is how I picture it, like looking at if in 10 years from now, or even in a few lives from now, a few dimensions away from now, looking back at this, I would say, oh my God, it was such a, you know, it's a cute thing to be scared of this. So yeah, thank you. Yeah, that could be a way to look at it. So if you could do it for certain things, that means we can do it for everything, no?
Yes, for everything. It's right now, that's the game. Deprogramming ourselves. It means to allow whatever is coming that doesn't belong to come to surface. Don't judge it. Let it out, and let it be. Let it play, and don't be food for it with your emotions, with your attention, with your anxieties.
And
just allow it to
listen to Marco's music. That will help a lot.
Music helps a lot. Yes,
I slide it a little bit.
But that's the important point. That's why it's so important to connect with our soul, because the more we connect with our soul, the more we see how silly are the stories of the ego.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if you see the statistic, 98% of the worries of the mind never happens in our lives, you know. So we are constantly in a mind masturbation you know. So, but when you connect with the soul, and the soul again doesn't judge and see the perfection in everything,
Yeah.
and then what happens, you can really help the ego to go, because it's time for him to go.
Yeah.
And in a way, he wants to go, but we keep it because we are afraid to let go of the past, to let go of that kind of parameters that we have been involved with so long time, and from which we are completely identified with. But from the soul, we can look at the ego and feel appreciation and love and say, thank you, you did a wonderful job. We got so amazing experience from this. Now it's time for you to go. And that's the same conversation we should have with the system out there. You know, it's not about resisting or negotiating or challenging or fighting. It's about saying,
okay,
thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yes, you just appreciate it, because the system wants to die. They are tired to have those satanic Luciferian, they're sick and tired. They just want to move out, and we keep them alive with our fear. We keep them alive with our story of the past, with our anger, with our, no. And so the best way is to say, I really appreciate you for what you did to us, and now we set you free. We don't keep validating you with our anger, with our frustrations, with our fear. We just let you go so that you can transform yourself into light and continue your journey somewhere else, so that we also can continue our journey.
Yeah,
it's an act of love.
It's an act of love, and that's exactly what I was looking for on my computer. My favorite quotes from the Bible about love in the Corinthians: "Love never fails. For now we know in part and prophecy in part, but when completeness comes, what is in part disappears. When I was a child, I talked like a child, I thought like a child, I reasoned like a child. When I became a man, I put the ways of childhood behind me. For now, we see only a reflection as in the mirror. Then we shall see face to face. Now I know in part, then I shall know fully, even as I am fully known." Because you talk a lot about love, and there's many responses in my mind and my heart and my soul when I was listening to the journey of the soul, because actually we're going to get into this now. For those who are listening, the journey of the soul, it's a story written by Wenda Blake, and it's a story of a soul who's choosing a physical experience on planet Earth. There are 9 chapters available in print, but also as audio files, which are beautifully connected and coupled with the music album of Marco called The Journey of the Soul. You are calling Earth the most complex and challenging playground for the soul, because it includes, you know, the like we talked about, polarity, duality, fragmentation, separation, diversity, and I'll quote, "upside down, reverted holographic realities of the inverted matrix." Can you go a little bit into that?
Well, it should be becoming quite obvious for most of us, for those that want to really understand that everything that comes from the system is reversed, is upside down. So you go to school and you get indoctrinated rather than higher consciousness. You go to a doctor, you get more sick usually than actually getting more healthy. You go to religion, they speak about a God that punish you if you don't behave. If you go to the media, they tell you all this story. It's all reverses. It's like a mirror reversed. And it's a fantastic way for us to develop the muscles of discernment. And that's why we created this. That's why we allowed this in our experience in the last 10,000 years, because it's really tricky to see everything backward and reverse and try to journey through that kind of mirror, you know. So, again, love is the key. I remember that when I was a little child, even when I was in my teenager, and even now sometimes. Every time I would go, it would be the end of the day, and I would lay down ready to sleep. And I would close my eyes on the pillow, and I would revisit the whole day, and I would go through all the stories, all the actors that, everything, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and those moments where I felt hurt, where I felt fear, when I felt all these kind of low frequencies. And I would feel appreciation for everything. And I would have tears in my eyes, feeling love for everything, even the most challenging moments of the day. And with that feeling, I would fall asleep. And that would allow me to reset my new day from scratch, rather than carry with me all the heaviness of the day that I accumulated in the day before. It's just a reset. By loving in neutrality and embracing all the stories and appreciating all, you reset yourself so that the day after you can start anew.
I see. So it is a story about you then. It is your story. It is the story of your soul.
Yeah, I created a story, and then did the wonderful work to be the writer of it. So she wrote it beautifully, and a very lovely, beautiful and artistic written words. And so yeah, it worked very well. It's a nice story. I have to say that if I haven't read the story since I wrote it, produced it. Like, I don't listen to my music once it's done. I usually don't listen to it. But I'm sure if right now I have the sense that if I read again that story, I might want to add much more elements, because I'm constantly evolving, I'm constantly discovering new things. And I might have to do that, because they're asking me to translate the book in Italian. And so with that opportunity, that would be an opportunity for me to expand the book in much more details,
Amazing, though. Amazing. This is the question that came to my mind. How much of this appreciation and how much of this love have I really experienced? It felt as I was listening that love was something that was somewhere deep inside, that was covered by layers, and that I just have a little bit of a ray here and there, and still tainted. And I was wondering how does it feel? Probably it's what I was feeling when I was little. I could relate a lot to the experience that you described there in the first years of life, and that oneness with everything, and that desire to know more and express, and that knowing that I'm eternal. You say in the book, I'm quoting again, source, or all that is, in order to experience itself, it creates. The creation process involves fragmentation, so that we know. Now, the first fragmented experience expresses itself through sound. This is very interesting and beautiful. And they say this is how a soul is created. This is powerful, Marco. Let's talk a little bit about that. So the soul is being created through sound.
Yes, I believe that every individual in this planet, and probably everywhere else, has a unique note and unique sound. And the whole life is a symphony. And what is happening is because we have been in such a high degree of separation for so long, our notes are just a little bit, or maybe a lot, out of tune with the symphony of life. And so now to tune back our singular note and join again in an harmonious way the symphony of life, we need to reconnect with our soul, and music has the ability to help you to tune back yourself, sound and music, because we are sound. And so it's like if you play a note on the piano, the vibration of that note will engage other notes. Okay, that's how sounds work, and that's why I think the future of the medical institution is music, is sound. Doctors in the near future will be basically sounds musicians or frequencies doctor, you know.
Do you know that they have done an experiment here in France, somewhere in the Champagne area?
Yeah.
Where they experimented with classical music at the ends of the vineyards in order to stop little predators, you know, the little insects that attack the wine, and it worked. They treated the vineyards with classical music. They just put speakers at the end of each row. Not each, but like every 2-3 rows for a small parcel to see and to evaluate, to do a sort of a scientific experiment, and it worked.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They already know how to do it. There's a lot of things that they know, but for now it's not the right time. We're getting there when we will have all access to this knowledge that has been repressed for so long.
So are you involved in this type of projects, Mark? I'm curious, because actually all this music, and especially as you describe in this short story, it comes from your heart, it comes from your soul. It must be so cool. I have a hard time imagining that. I'd love to be able to pour music into the world.
Yes.
Are you considering using it for certain purposes, like to become really more how do you say, precise with how you're using music to heal or to help people awaken to their soul's vibration?
Yeah, I'm already doing that. The purpose of the music that I host or create, besides my personal own process of awakening, is to, at this moment, is to bring emotions to the surface so that can be liberated, all these stuck emotions. And so that's part of the job until now. And it might be soon a different work, because eventually we will reach a state of consciousness where our emotions will be balanced, and so will not be anymore our driver factor, but they will be just a way to enhance our experience in the physicality. At that point, then probably I will start to get into sound and music from different point of view. But for now, that's the purpose. And my goal, it's not a goal, but my intent is to do live concerts together with workshops, so that people get initially a heart-opening experience with music, and then they get the knowledge from spoken words, and then they end up again with music, because they are all vibration. Both words and music are vibration. And if the intent of the creator of music and the intent of the person that speaks the words are pure, yes, then the experience can be very, very transformational. So
how are you received with this type of ideas in the classical music environment? I mean, is there place for that? Is there opening to that?
Well, what we call classical is just a time frame or period of time where music was created. Yes. And like any other time, there are musicians that had the pure intent, others had the more ego. So it's not just because something is classical is good, depend what was the intent of the composer. It doesn't matter what time frame it is, It's just, but we have labels, and then in the labels we attach stories, and so there is a mysticization of classical. Not all classical music is good, in my opinion. Not all.
Well, I trust you. You're the musician here. I know what I like because I know how it vibrates me. I like music that vibrates in my heart and my soul. I like music
Definitely.
that transports me and surrounds me and takes me places. And, you know, like at the end of that symphony or that piece of music, I am elsewhere.
Yeah, there is beautiful classical music, there's beautiful contemporary music, and so the opposite. And it all depends on how you resonate. Some people resonate with certain kind of music, some people resonate with some other. Eventually we will drop all these labels.
Yes.
And we will not compartmentalize music. Oh, this is jazz, this is rock, this is heavy metal, this is classical. You know, eventually we'll let go of all this commercialization of music, and it will be just music. And everybody will embrace whatever and appreciate whatever music they are drawn to, you know.
For sure. It's still classical music inspires me more than rap, for instance.
Okay, great. Yeah.
So what is your latest project? Like, what are you working at right now?
Right now I'm finishing this blog, La Via dell'Anima. It's almost finished. It's a blog that is being created in 3 different languages. So it was like quite a work because everything is triple. And it's a blog that it's a summarization of my feeling, my creativity, my daily discovery. I put everything, I merge everything into music, into photography, into words and videos, and then I share it. Like everything else I do it first for myself, because it helps me to become more conscious, to remember more and more who I am, and also I do it because it's fun, you know. But once I do it, I feel like sort of a great joy to share it, particularly at this time, because it really feels that that's what I need to do right now, to share all this information that come through all of us, but we are all unique. We all have a unique sound, as we just said. And so everybody has the ability to package, to create a cocktail of their knowing, of their experience in a very specific way. And so you do it with your uniqueness, I do it with mine, and somebody else do it with somebody else, something else. And that's why the system is has been attempting successfully often to remove the idea of uniqueness from ourselves, and they all want to be, you know,
the same.
Yes, the same. So if you're a doctor after university, you are a doctor like other doctors. They're all the same. They all even dress like the same. Lawyers do the same. The science is the same. It's all very, you know.
Oh, it's awful and it's boring. And it's unnatural.
Yes, and as soon as you do something different, the whatever industry bans you or take your credit away, whatever, you know. You have to follow the narrative, their narrative. You have to play the game as they want it, right? So that shows you how much they fear our uniqueness, how much they fear our imagination, how much they fear our joy, because once you are in that level of appreciation, the game is over for the system.
For sure. For sure.
So to answer your question, I'm just doing what I feel I have to do right now, not out of sacrifice, not because I want to help someone, just because it's the product of my joy. And then within the product of my joy, there is also the joy of sharing with no expectation. Just put it there and see if someone might resonate with that.
Absolutely. And that's wonderful. And I'm grateful for that. One last word, because we're going to end here, and right after this, I'm going to add some fragments, with your permission, from the Journey of the Soul, either music or music with text, so people can get a glimpse of what it is about. But one last word about love, Marco, please. I think to me it seems so important, but it's been so wrongly used, so wrongly understood that it became a sort of just a second-hand word. What is love?
Well, love is everything that exists. Everything is love. We are made of love, and there is nothing else than love. However, again, in order to have an experience, we, as source, we create an illusionary separation, which means that basically less love. The more separated, the less the illusion of being in an environment that is less loving, is more contractive, is more dark, is more, but that's an illusion. It's not real. It's just a game that we play in order to have fun with the world of form, because to be completely immersed in light, in love, it's not particularly stimulating, because there is no experience. If you are in the zero field, your oneness completely, you cannot have any experience, because you are everything. And if you are everything, you cannot have experience. So you need to create an illusionary lack of love, or what we can call lower frequencies, or we can call separation, fragmentation, in order to just play. But it is a game. It's like when you watch a movie and you see the actors that do sometimes also, they interpret roles that are horrible, and that one killed that one and this one did. But we are having fun watching a movie. It's just a movie, and at the end of the movie, we all clap the actors, whether they've been the bad guy or the good guy. We all hug each other and say, "Wow, that was fun! What a beautiful experience!"
Yeah,
that's how it is. But it is all love at the end, and that's.
So it's like the light of the projector, right? It's the light that comes through the projector, yes, and is projecting on the screen.
And this is the magic of music, probably that can do better than anything I know of in this planet. Music has the ability to dissipate instantly any illusion of separation when it's conceived from an artist that has been used his pure heart. And it's very simple. You don't have to play any complex, elaborate music. You can just play a couple of notes, and people immediately remember that it's all love. And that's the magic of music. And that's one of the things I want to do. I want to create concerts where you go and you, for a moment, you are watching this incredible movie. For a moment, the movie stops, and all the actors say, "Hey, we are just playing here, and let's hug each other." Okay, that was beautiful. Let's go back to the movie now. That's the kind of situation that I want to create with a concert.
So definitely, we'll meet again for an interview whenever we have another subject to talk about. I'm looking forward to it already. So thanks so much for accepting. And I feel really privileged to talk to you. It's been fantastic.
Thank you. It's been an honor for me to be with you and all your beautiful listeners.
And I thank you all for watching. Thank you all for liking and subscribing. And of course, if you have something to say, you want to have a conversation here with me and spread your message, contact me and let's talk. And now please don't go. Now we're going to listen to some of Marco's exceptional music, and I'll see you all very soon.
Adventures begin with the highest intention: love, joy, freedom, attunement, and gifts within. But entering Earth's playground initiates a journey to endure the deepest level of separation, fragmentation, and forgetfulness. As this one particular soul enters the fetus, held warmly in his chosen mother's womb, and proceeds to the earthly light, he experiences the emotion of abandonment.